viewers, welcome back to my channel Radhika TechHub. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about Redux architecture, how the flow will be happens and how the action will be dispatched and how the modifications will be done in the reducer and how it is stored. So we'll discuss what is architecture, how the flow will be going. So as we all know that React is a component based and it is the top level approach. So it maintains the state. The whole modifications will be stored in the state. So normally we will use our in the components to store the data. As usual, we are using the use state hooks. So in the use state, we are storing the data and we are getting and we are passing the data into the another component. So the same level, but in that approach, we has to send component to component to component. So it is difficult to pass the data to multiple components. To help with this, we are came into the Redux store. So everything will be stored a single place. Everything will be stored, and wherever we require the data which we required, we can retrieve easily by using the use selector. So it maintains the state as the application level, and every component retrieve the data what the data required in that special component itself. So it maintains a single place for all modifications, modified data or deletion, whatever that happens will be stored in the store. So the single place we can retrieve everywhere in the component. So this is the architecture. So one UI, our components will trigger the action. By using the dispatch, use dispatch, we will trigger the action what the type we mention usually. So we trigger the action, and based on the action type, only that method, only that case will be triggered in the reducer, and that reducer based on that action type and based on that data which we are passing to change will be updated in that modified in the state. So that updated will be everything which has been done, the modifications will be stored at the state in the store. So that updated thing will be displayed in the our component. So this is the flow how it will be happens. So first we will dispatch the action. Based on the action type, the modifications will be done in the reducer. That updated things will be stored in the state which is present in the store. So that updated variable or thing we called in our component wherever the modification happens. So those modifications will be displayed in the UI. So store, what is that store will be doing? So it stores all the modifications which is done in the reducer in the states. So that state will be act as a global state. So what are the things will be by using the triggering of action based on that dispatched action, according to that modifications will be stored in the states. So this is the store will plays the major role. It is the main part in the Redux, because whatever we are retrieving, whatever we are doing the modifications, all will be stored here itself. So before the Redux, we are going to pass from one component to another component. As of here, we are storing everything will be storing here. So whenever we require, we used to call those by using use selector. So action. So we will declare as it is like a plain JavaScript. So whatever we are dispatching, we are triggering in the reducer based on the action type. As of example, client list, it is the type. Based on that type, we are dispatching from the UI to the action, and there it will be matched whatever we are triggering to be matched in the reducer. So based on that action type, only the modifications will be happen here. So it carries the payload. If you want to update means, so we are having 10 IDs. So only I want to update the id of 3. So it is the payload. The id will be acts as a payload here. So we are passing the id through that action type, the type and the payload. So based on the type, based on the id and based on the type, it will be done the modifications. So red user having the, if you want to modify the data, so previously we are having data, I want to do some modifications in that data. So the previous data has to be carry that, right? So where we have to carry that in the state. So the state carries the previous information. Now I want to update, means the payload which is coming from the action type, the previous data to be modified based on the updated thing which we are passing here. So it carries the previous state and action which is coming payload. So based on the action type, it hits the logic and do the modifications, and the updated will be stored in the state. So it saves the updated changes, and based on the updated data, our component is also updated based on the data which we are retrieving from the store. So this is the how the flow will be happen. In the next video, we are going to set up our Redux in the project, and we will how to do the setup we will do in the next video. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon. It will give the notifications.